I wanted to ask you a little bit here. Obviously, it's a big time right now in pro wrestling. There's like a big, they're calling it a war that's about to shape up here with the sons of Vince McMahon Sr. and Dusty Rhodes. Their kids going head to head here. What was it like working with? Let's start with Dusty Rhodes here. What was it like working with Dusty? And are you surprised to see his son picking up the torch and running the way he has in the business?
No, I'm not. And it was great working with Dusty. We were tag team champions in Florida, and we switched back and forth to Florida heavyweight belt and all that. And now that his son got a chance with this elite wrestling, and I think they start next Wednesday, and they've got the capital and everything. The point is, it's like I had talked with him, and I probably could have worked for him, teaching psychology and that, but I'm not interested anymore. But the point is, no matter how much money you got, if you ain't got talent, you're not going to draw. But they're smart enough that they're getting these independents, and they'll get over in a school where they're going to develop their own talent.
Yeah. What do you?
So I think it's going to be good, the wrestling war, because I think it's going to be good for the guys. But I think a lot of them are going to jump ship from WWE.
One of the things I was definitely noticing as well when I was reading your book, you talk intimately about your relationships with the different promoters that you worked for. For you, what makes for a good wrestling promoter?
A good wrestling promoter is one that treats you with respect and treats you as a human being. Now, I worked for promoters that I couldn't stand. I worked for promoters that couldn't stand me, but they knew they put my name up there, I would sell out for them, Yeah. Rory Shire says, with Bearcat Wright, he said, I couldn't stand him, but I knew I didn't have to sleep with him. I didn't have to ride with him. I didn't have to eat with him. And all I had to do was put his name up there, and he'd automatically sell the Cow Palace out, which hold 20,000 people.
Yeah.
So to me, a good promoter is one that will treat you with respect, give you respect. You also give it in return. That don't mean you got to go eat with him or you got to go visit him or stuff like that. A lot of promoters, like with Vince, I've heard, he'll tell guys, I can make anybody in here. And which he can. And I can fire everybody and open up tomorrow and I'll still draw money, which he probably could. I'm not knocking that. But yeah. To me, that's not a good promoter. You got to have a good rapport with whoever you're with.
Well, speaking of promoters, I thought a really cool part of the book, too, was you talking about being in the room for a meeting with Vince McMahon Sr. and Vince McMahon Jr. was doing a lot of the talking, and you could kind of tell he was starting to take over more control within the company. Yeah,
he was doing the announcing then, and we were in the room with the meeting, and Vince did all the talking, and you go ask Vince Sr. a question, where I just sat and I listened, and Vince Jr. would answer. You could see that he was getting more and more powerful. And his dad was probably one of the greatest men I ever met. I was there when he passed away. And then Vince Jr. took over. And he had big dreams, which we all did. And he proved his dreams. He not only took over the wrestling business, he said, I'm going to take the world. And he did.
Are you a fan
to him, I went to Africa, I went to Arabia, I went to Egypt, I went to London, I went to Ireland. I mean, you name it, I've been there.
Are you a fan of the direction that Vince Jr. took the pro wrestling business?
No.
No? What would be?
I don't want to get into it though.
Okay. All right. Fine. Then we won't. All right. I got two little things here I wanted to ask you about before we wrap it up. I want to thank you for the time, Rocky. Another cool
My pleasure.
Another really cool part of the book. You talk about your brief time as a trainer for the WWE and putting together your son, The Rock, and Hulk Hogan's infamous WrestleMania 18 match. What was it like helping to put that match together? And as you're putting it together, did you expect it to become this huge, crazy, iconic moment that it has become in professional wrestling?
I thought it was because we were in Davie, Florida, and I opened the Wrestling Academy for New York. It's called SmackDown Wrestling Academy. That's why they have SmackDown Tuesday night now.
Oh, okay.
Because Dwayne went in with that. I had that. We brought Brock Lesnar in, just to sharpen him up. Dwayne wrestled Hogan in Toronto. Hogan came up for like 4 or 5 days. They worked everything out. I knew it was going to be big. I didn't know it was going to be that big. But, they had two great athletes, and there was no animosity. There was no I'm winning, you're winning. They did what they thought would draw money, and it works.
Man, yeah, that was.
And Hogan was an icon, and he still is to this day.
Yeah, man.
And he had no problem giving my son the belt.
Yeah, man.
That's what you call a true professional.